Zoom to YouTube effect, it says the content of this party is being sent to a third party. This is because it's allowing all parties that are involved in Zoom to know that it's going to also another version. Notice it even says powered by Zoom, and a lot of times it gives a little logo. Notice here, you see I'm delayed. And this is nice to see that I'm delayed. Many of you talked about, and then copy your YouTube URL and make sure others can see it as well. Now, many of you talked about the idea of what's the advantage to go YouTube Live? Why not just remain in Zoom? Sebastian, do you understand my question? You want to repeat my question?
Sorry, can you repeat it? I'm trying.
Yes. Right now we're doing YouTube Live from Zoom. And my question is, why even bother doing YouTube Live? What's the advantage to, in addition to a Zoom meeting that we all know that we're in, what's the advantage to have YouTube Live?
Well,
can you repeat my question?
Yeah, what's the advantage of using YouTube Live despite us already being on Zoom?
Yeah, we're on Zoom. Why should why should we think about it as a business also incorporate doing YouTube Live? List one advantage.
Well, you can always just upload your YouTube live stream into your account, and any questions that they forgot about that were talked about, they can just go and check it out for themselves.
Right. Okay. So these were, but what is they can go and check it out. What is the live portion? Basically, what is the advantage from the live portion? Ethan, you did a very nice job in that first pass. What's the advantage of doing a YouTube Live versus just remaining on Zoom? Ethan?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yes. My question is, what's the advantage to add YouTube Live? You see in the very corner, you can see in the very corner of your screen, it says on my sense, it says I'm streaming also on YouTube Live. What is it? What is the difference? Why bother?
Because if you stream live, you could see your screen on the live, and we can't see your screen here.
You can't see my screen here? If I say share screen, you can't see my screen?
Well, now I can.
Yeah. So what's the advantage? It's a good question, isn't it? Why even bother? Ethan, do you understand? Why bother? Besides this exercise and having a lot of tasks to do, and it's like overwhelming, what I want to get down to the nitty gritty is this is used for business to what? To get closer to my customer, to get more engagement, to make myself a brand, to reduce my costs, to basically be global if I want. So what's the advantage here? Who can take a stab at it? Robert Kim.
What's the advantage to
YouTube Live over
YouTube
Zoom?
Live?
We know what Zoom is, especially we're using Zoom here. We're using it in conjunction with Blackboard. So basically anyone registered to my course needs to authenticate themselves, right? So if I looked at it in Zoom, you can put this in your notes, that in Zoom, I need authentication, right? Then in Zoom, I'm requiring anyone entering my session to identify themselves. Once you get into Blackboard, immediately you're now into my Zoom session. You with me?
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, if I do a YouTube channel and in the same time I go live and I broadcast, basically I'm broadcasting my Zoom session in YouTube. When
Mhm.
somebody views that YouTube channel, do they need to be authenticated?
Now they can just view it.
They can just find it. Even if we just said we gave them some keywords and look for live, the ones that I send a link to have it, the ones that have subscribed to your channel have it, but around the world, you can make it open, right? Remember that you said, JC, I can make it private, I can make it unlisted, or I can make it public. So you may want, JC, to not, I don't want to have the whole world hear this discussion, but I want my customers to hear this discussion. And some of them may be on a phone, some of them may be in other places, and they just want to listen. They can get access to YouTube. If I make it public, anyone in the world that has access to a browser can get access to that stream. Do you understand? So what's
Yep.
the advantage? Is that sometimes I want maybe all of my people in Zoom, let's say we were in education, and we were going to teach about AI and characteristics of how to use chatbots. We can have, and they were going to take a credit course, and they're going to take a certificate. Anybody then in Zoom, we would get a certificate and we would give it from our university. They would pay, let's say, $300 and they'd get a certificate on AI Gen. Johan, you understand? And then my YouTube people, but maybe we want to advertise our university, we want to advertise our brand. And we said, let everyone else listen to it, but we won't call on them. They could put some text in and we could have somebody moderate our YouTube live feed. And in this case, they wouldn't get credit. So I can expand my universe. Do you see that, Robert Kim? Does that make sense?
Yep.
So this is the way in which I want to do it. So some of you had difficulties and some of you did better jobs than others. But what I want you to do, and let me just later on in a few minutes, we'll go over individual groups who I thought excelled, and we'll talk about also issues that people had. One of the things I want you to do when you're recording is record issues. So if you do have a problem, record those problems in Zoom in other ways. So anything I need to know, Daniel, in the chat?
Nope.
Okay.
Nothing.
So let's get started. Let's get away from all the administrative types of things. I'll talk about our readings, and then I'll talk about our past assignment and how to improve our past assignment and what's next in our assignment, where we're going. Okay, so let me now share my, and if I didn't give you permission, right, Nikita, you have permission. If you need to show your webcam when you're in this class, unless you have had permission ahead of time that you have some different issues. Some people, go ahead and put in the chat, but some people that, you know, are very sick. One thing nice here is we don't have to worry about COVID, right? That's going around. We're not going to infect each other. So if there's some different issues, put that in the chat, and Daniel can look at it and take notes on it. If there's issues about certain things about you're not in a group, you have problems with your group or something like that, put that in the chat and direct it to Daniel. And we'll anything personal, we'll talk about it at the end of the class. I'll end class a few minutes early so we can deal with that. So let me share my screen. I'm sharing my screen. Now, do you see my control panel on the bottom when I share my screen? Is the problem with Zoom and sharing the screen, you don't share the control panel. So what we're going to have to do, and some of you are going to look at it, we're going to have to use another screen recorder on top of Zoom to gain access to see what's being shared. So that's an issue that we'll discuss at a later time. But now you can see that I have my Zoom, you see HI, you can see what's due. And let me look at my what's due. Everybody go to their what's due session right now. Let me go in my edit mode off. So I'm in the same thing that you are. So for today, it was due September 4th. Did you make it available? Let me just do this. Is the communications, the tech guide hardware should have been done in the tech guide and the quizzes. If I go into my Wiley Adaptive and I do my tech guide hardware, notice if I go to adaptive assignments, like I said before, I have instructor view. In this section, you have student view, and I see that 24 have been completed and 14 haven't started. It's due tonight, we said at 11:59 p.m. I suggest that you do it always before class, and I'll tell you why. One is that I'll go over the material. Two, another reason is if the server is down in Wiley Plus, that's a problem. So you can see in this case, I have the students, and then I get the students to see who has not completed, and it just gives me the role of the students. So that's my hardware. So if I list students, it lists my students, and then I see already that in black, it tells me who's not started, and I can drill down to JC, and I see that JC has completed her assignment. So I'm good with
Sorry,
that.
I apologize. The what's due, there's another thing. I just made it available.
Right.
It was on a timer, but it didn't work.
It depends which time, huh?
3:30 today. It was supposed to go live, and it just didn't.
3:30, which time zone?
I don't know. I guess they have a
See?
different one.
Yeah, it could be Wiley's time zone in India or something. Or in whatever, huh? So that's always good to know, because I was looking for that, huh? So it's always,
Yeah.
so let me just see here. Let me go back. He's telling me that my what's due that I have for Wednesday, and my next what's due has to be my tech guide software for the second one. That's due next Wednesday. And let's see make sure what that is. So I have my Wiley adaptive assignment. I have to go into I have to make this tech guide software, I have to make it available so my students can see it. I have to make my assignment available, make sure I have the right date, right? I have to open my assignment. And I see one due date, and notice the due date is at 3:35. Put this in your notes. Can you put in the notes then, right there in the assignment, that it's due before class on the 11th? Can you be so kind, Daniel?
Yeah. Yes, I will.
So that way everybody knows before class, This needs to be done. You have enough things to do after this class, but this needs to be done. The assignment, a week is enough time. So we're going to close that. So I know that that's done. Now I have to go back, right? In my assignment, I know that this assignment is done. I know that my Wiley assignment, adaptive, and now I go to my Wiley quizzes, and in my quizzes, I need also my guide to be edit the test options, and I know that it is made available to the students. Dalton, you want to do it one attempt or two attempts for this quiz?
I would say probably two.
Two gives you a chance to do it. It's open-ended, yes. Do I time it? No. But we need to add a due date to it, and the due date then needs to be, can you imagine September? We're already almost in the middle here, September 11th. Is that when we said it's due?
Yeah.
September 11th we'll do it at 3:30. I'll even do it at 3:35 p.m. Include, it looks like submit all at once. And what do you need to do on your end, Benjamin? Do you see it on your end? Wiley quizzes, is it available to you?
I'll check now.
It's always good. We always check and recheck each other, right? And it should be Tech Guide 1, Tech Guide 2, it's men in announcements. And then if I go back to what's due, let me make sure I see that I have my assignments of September 4th of today, and I also have my due, and this is for next Wednesday. It's the reading adaptive assignments and Wiley quizzes. And then what we had is also, we had that area of hardware. So if I go into that area of hardware, I know that what's good is on the PowerPoints is I go to my PowerPoint and I download my Tech Guide hardware. You can do that now if you'd like. And also you have in your Wiley readings, and there's some glitches in that Wiley readings. Wiley's kind of dealing with that, but they have in that Tech Guide hardware, for instance, let me see if I can open it, if this works for me. See, there's some glitches here. Let me go to the new one. Let's see here. Yeah, so they're basically, you can see, let me just go to my bookshelf and search here. Even in my introduction to my hardware, let's see what happens. In the introduction to the hardware, it talks about this part here, which is key. The hardware consists of a central processing unit, a primary storage, secondary storage, input technology, output technologies, and communications. And this check your understanding, there's a glitch here. It doesn't work for me, and for many of you, it doesn't either. I'll reach out to, can you do me a favor? Just put it on your notes there, Daniel, is to reach out maybe to tech support in Wiley and see why this is happening. When you go to check your understanding, it seems to be a glitch, and whether we need to update something that we can have it. Again, we talk about the server. This is basically, this is not on my computer. This is, I guess, an advantage also to having an actual book, is this is basically on the cloud, and there's looks like a glitch in another program listening to it. So basically, and this is the same way, if you want it, is if we think about as well, I can look at my other part is that you also can go via your PowerPoint. So via your PowerPoint, you can go via your PowerPoint, you can then view your hardware via this. And basically it's the same thing that if you think about it, you need to know what is the hardware, the central processing unit, how is that important? It basically is a way to manipulate the data. Any computer needs what they call a CPU. Now, that CPU, the initials of it is what? The acronym is CPU. And now they're also having something called a GPU. And in this case, if I thought about it, Eduardo, what's a GPU? Do you have any idea? And if you don't, what do you want to do, Julian? Do you have access to Google or ChatGPT or anything else? Do you, Julian?
I do.
You do. So look up, what do we know? We know central processing unit is CPU. What do you think? The P and the U are the same. So those are processing units. Even I can figure that out, right, Julian? So now we got to figure out what's the G.
The G is graphics.
Graphics. So basically, you play any computer games ever in your life, Julian?
I play a couple, yeah.
Couple. Do you think they need graphics? Is graphics important?
Yeah, I think it's very important.
It's very important, right? And the more and more the older games versus the newer games, what's the difference? Is it's more realistic, right? And when it's more realistic, it's going to need to be more powerful, and it's going to be able to basically process the graphics part. So usually the computers have a CPU, but they also have a GPU many times to offload a lot of the graphics processing. And now, have you heard about then Amanda AI?
Yeah, I've heard about
Yeah,
AI.
and AI, there's going to be a lot more processing. A lot of the processing is going to be done on a GPU using the graphics processing unit, but it's also going to be called what? An MPU. So P we know is processing unit, right? N is then we got to figure out what the N is. And we don't have to figure it out. What can we do, Jared? We can just basically look it up, right? And Caleb, what do you find for NPU? What does that stand for?
So I'm not sure what the N stands for, but
yeah,
it's
well,
process.
go ahead and none of us are sure. So what do we do? Why don't we look it up, right?
Right, correct.
Right. So that's how our class is that we want to be active and try to discover it, because guess what? When we're going to be dealing with issues, this technology is moving so quickly that in a way it's a pleasure that AI is around to help us, right? Because it's impossible to keep all of this straight. And how is this going to help us? So what do you think? Anybody find out then? Emilio, did you find out what NPU stands for?
Yeah, it was neural processing unit.
Neural. And you have any idea what that means? How do you spell neural?
Not too sure.
Neural processing. I think NUER. Help me here. Neural processing.
It had an E before the U.
E before the U. Thank you so much. Have you ever heard of basically neurons? Where have you heard of neuron? Where are they in a human being?
In the atoms?
The neurons are where? The neurons are flickering. It's in my brain, right? That all of a sudden when I have to search for a word, right, or any of the processing, those searching basically, or it's basically those neurons are attaching to each other, and that neural processing part then tries to act like the brains of a human. And what does it really mean? That it's processing on much information, and it also can even be processing in a parallel sense. So what they're now going to have is they're going to have new processing units or new chips that will do the AI, not in the cloud, but where? On your computer. Isn't that pretty interesting that the the processing now, they'll have now computers that my computers and my phone will do a lot of the processing there. What's the advantage to that? I can keep it private. What's the advantage, Sienna, is that I don't have to share it with the world. Primary storage. Maria, primary storage stores my data temporary. And performs instructions. So when I run PowerPoint, it's stored in my primary storage on my computer. And where it stores it is called RAM, which is random access memory. And in this case, Shane, secondary storage, if I think about secondary storage, what is the unique characteristic of secondary storage is that it is not temporary, it's for future use. So, Shane, what computer are you using right now?
MacBook Air.
A Mac computer. So
Yes.
you have primary storage and you have secondary storage.
Okay.
So what I want you to be able to find out, everybody here, we have access to the computer and we'll ask that question. And basically, maybe in this case, we can ask the question, how much primary storage you have on your computer and how much secondary storage do you have on the computer? And normally, Shane, which is larger, your primary storage or your secondary storage?
Secondary storage.
Yes. When you hear about my hard drive, right? When you think about even my memory card, if I think about that, that is my secondary storage. Even when I save things in the cloud, that's my secondary storage. My random access or my primary storage is part of my RAM, is part of my CPU. And what's the advantage to have more random access memory is that I can then put in more of the software's program in memory and it's quicker. It doesn't have to go back and forth. So in this chapter, when I'm thinking about it, what's going to be important is the strategic hardware issues coming up are going to be enormous. We know that we get in hardware, we know we usually get price reductions, we get higher performance. And in this arena of AI, people are going to be wanting to, for instance, get ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini on their device. They'll be having chips like NPUs or even incorporating these NPUs that will house my AI software to make it faster. And then they talk about the computer hierarchy. And I don't need to go through this part, input and output. Of course, the input is going to be coming in my data. The output is what's coming in out. I'll even have a lot of, think about all the virtual reality, all the generations, those fake voices, the fake pictures that I can have that are able to the point of sale, my output are all part of how it is. You need to know how that processing in general, that central processing unit works. And you can think about it is that I cannot use the computer. It's almost like the brains that I'm dealing with. So my inputs come into my CPU from my random access memory, from my what? Primary storage. And those data travels in those electrical pathways. And I have something called the ALU, and the data then are sent back to the storage place. So maybe what I can do is look at the next screen and it can show it to me better. This is better. Let me make this a little bit better. So this is my microprocessor. This is my CPU. And under the CPU, I have what they call a control unit, ALU. You remember we talked about that term, ALU is arithmetic logic unit. So what does that sound like, Sebastian? Arithmetic logic unit. It means it does arithmetic. It adds, it multiplies, it divides, it makes order, right? It tells me logic, meaning one number is less than the other, greater than the other, equal to another. And registers are parts of data that are saved that I need quickly. And notice right here, primary storage. What's another main memory? What's another acronym for that? Is primary storage is what I say RAM, right? Random access memory. So what happens here? You see the secondary storage here, Cam, on my screen that I'm alluding to. You see that?
Yes.
That secondary storage is like what? My hard drive, right? You know what your hard drive is. I don't have to tell you. My secondary storage could be somewhere in the cloud, right? My secondary storage, notice there's two ways here because the computer, the operating system brings it into my main memory. I'm not even aware of it, right? It puts in my main memory. And if I want to say something of it, turn my computer off. I've made adjustments to this PowerPoint. What do I need to do? Either automatically it will save the corrections or the adjustments, or I have to say save as, and it will save it to my secondary storage. As soon as I shut down my computer, my primary storage, my RAM, disappears. So we call primary storage, if I think about primary storage, I can think about primary storage as being the word volatile. Let me just put it up here. Primary storage is volatile. And what does volatile mean? It means what, Sebastian? Not steady, right? Not always. It means that turning computer off does what, Sebastian?
You're asking me what turning a computer off does?
Yeah, but what is primary storage is volatile? What does it mean?
It just means that the RAM is very reactive. Like,
It basically will disappear.
yeah.
It will not remain. Data will not remain. So it has to be transferred or saved to where? Secondary storage. So I want you to tell me is basically, which is a good question for everybody even to discover, is how much primary storage and secondary storage you have on your device. Meaning how much RAM and hard and drive space. And how can you find that, Amanda? Is you can look it up. What kind of computer do you have, Amanda?
I have a MacBook Pro.
MacBook Pro. So you can even search, how do I find out how much RAM and drive space do I have on my MacBook Pro? Everybody can make that. Or if you have a Windows machine or you have whatever. You got it, Amanda? Are you looking it up?
Yeah, so for mine, it says it comes with 8 gigabytes of unified RAM as standard.
Okay, it has 8 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, and how much drive space or hard drive? Did you find it?
Let me get that. Well,
Okay, get it.
yeah, let me ask.
Right. You got it? That's how isn't that great? When we have all that AI and we have all those tools, you need to have all this stuff in your head. We need to make decisions, huh?
Yeah, so it's saying it comes with a base storage of 256 gigabytes.
Okay, 256. And how much do you have?
Yeah. I have 512 gigabytes.
And you even have more, right? Is that good? Because you can store more, right? And then you also can store another gigabytes, right? So this is that 512 gigabytes. You're on a roll, Amanda. Is that primary storage or secondary storage?
That would be secondary. Yeah.
Look, we weren't born with the stuff, were we? Not a big shake, so we know it. Why is that important? That you have more, that you have, and does anybody in this case, what did you find, Jared? How much RAM do you have?
I believe I have I think 8 gigabytes.
You have it, you think, or you checked? This is not about thinking, right? This is not about feelings. Did
Yeah,
you check?
8 gigabytes, yes.
Okay, and how much is secondary?
Secondary,
Right, or secondary storage or hard drive space. Sometimes they don't.
250.
Okay, so so you have less than hers, but you have the same amount, okay? And what did you find, Jasper?
Yeah, I have the same. I got 512 gigabytes.
And how much is RAM?
Yeah, I have 8 gigabytes of RAM too.
Okay, so we're going to be doing financial forecasting in another one of our sessions. And we're going to be forecasting next day price in the stock market. Jasper, what major are you?
I'm a finance major.
Finance, right? Do you think we need more RAM or less RAM?
Probably
Something
more.
like that. Way more, right? So, and do you think we need a fast CPU? Right, more powerful. And sometimes we may need to have the cloud to do a lot of this forecasting for us, right? Because it may not be enough what we are sharing. So we'll be looking at it. So those are the reasons why we need to do that. Okay, so in this case, now you understand when I'm going through this, that these microprocessors, basically, you can see here then, Amanda, you see here the primary storage, right? It's going to be then going into my control unit, doing my process, getting my instructions, doing some arithmetic units if it's going to be forecasting, right? and bringing the results back to my primary storage in my RAM, and I need to save it, of course, in my hard drive or somewhere, or in the cloud somewhere else to do it. So there's something called Moore's Law that's basically, and that's getting to be outdated, but the idea that every so many years we're increasing miniaturization and we're just getting more and more on the chips that we have. So we know here that the memory capacity, we got primary, secondary storage. We've gone through that. And basically what's a computer here is in the on and off switch. And then basically this is going to be like my 0 and 1. And this is going to be a character. Like Amanda, your first letter of your name is like an A, that's a byte. And a kilobyte is about 1,000. A megabyte is more, and then that's why we're going to do like kilobytes, kilobytes, and we have megabytes. Gigabytes is about 1 billion. We have terabytes, trillions, and you can think about it is, then we have petabytes and so forth. And you can see that what we're basically doing is more and more, and especially all these artificial intelligence models are taking what? Basically looking at all the data, the more data they have, and trying to look for patterns and trying to access that. So this is the way that the memory model works. So in memory, this is primary is called main memory. And under that main memory of primary storage, we have a little bit of the register memory that's holding things that basically that will be needed. Basic part of this, that it has the least capacity, but I'm going to need it immediately before and after. Cache is high-speed memory. Sometimes when you type some things and you see it already, almost predicting, that's part of cache. Random access memory we talked about, and there's something called read-only memory. Random access memory is volatile. When I shut off my computer, what does that mean it does in this case? Nikita, what does it do?
You said what does the what do? Sorry.
Random access memory. It's volatile. When I shut off the computer, let's say I was typing, I made some corrections to this PowerPoint, and basically I lose power.
Yeah, you said that you have to transfer it to the data to a secondary
Perfect. Secondary storage, that it disappears. Volatile means that it'll shut off. It'll disappear. Read-only memory, it's part of my primary storage. That is what we can think about is non-volatile. What does the non-volatile mean? That it remains when I shut off the computer. And a little bit of the operating system from the manufacturer remains, stays in ROM. It's kind of like the instructions to the computer just to get it turned on. But our main, what I as an end user get is I have to worry about that random access memory. I want it to be a bit faster, that it can respond more. It uses cache memory. And then the secondary is a number of different devices that I can use. Okay. So Amanda, did that help?
Yeah, thank you.
So basically it's the overview, because there's so many. So what I would do is I would look at the end of the chapter 2. They have a summary of terms, summary, read through that summary, because it's so much information there. You say, where am I going from this? Okay. Next, I want now to look at our assignment that we had due for Zoom. So we'll talk, somebody's asking me now about what about our individual assignments and our group assignments. So that's what I'm going to talk about right now, because some people are quite anxious about that. There was a number of different issues that we had. So let me share my screen. Let me minimize my PowerPoint. I'm going to take this. I don't need my PowerPoint here. Right. And now let me open up a new tab. I want to go to my courses.miami.edu. Since I'm already on this browser, I don't have to go to Duo. And now I'm going to go to Audit. I go to Audit, I go to Groups, and I see the example in this group. I see the example, there should be a Zoom individual assignment and sample group assignments. And if I go to a group 1, for instance, in group 1, then in the individual assignments, I have Antonio where he gave, now this is really nice where I see it in Antonio and Ethan. Everybody look, and that's the beauty, is you can look at each other's work. What I really like is in Antonio and Ethan's work is they have an MP4 file and they have their YouTube live stream link file as well. The MP4, where did you get that, Ethan? You did a very nice job in explaining your video. Where did you get that video?
You're muted.
What? Ethan, where did you get this video from? Do we hear him? Ethan, are you there? You want to unmute yourself, Ethan? Antonio, where did you get this MP4 file?
When I record locally, it's sent
Yeah, so you recorded in your computer or you recorded it to the cloud?
on my computer.
Right, when he
I got
said
one on my
record to
computer.
your computer, so what I would do here is underneath this, under edit, I would then put where you put that, where you put that MP4 is also, I would put in here, when you record to the to my computer, it creates an MP4 that I uploaded to this session. Number 1. So put that in under the individual assignment. And also, this is good. The YouTube showcased a Zoom live streaming, a short discussion about the sequence. What I would like, and then make sure, let me put some notes here. These are notes on your Zoom assignment to improve it. I don't want you to take anything off. You can then just add to it. So leave what you have, but add to it, and also do a date and time. Anytime you submit something, you need to add the date and time. So onto it, for instance, the MP4 state recorded right to computer versus recorded to the cloud. Also, share your screen when you demonstrate. features. Also, create tasks. What do I mean? i.e., create a poll. Promote one or two teammates, team members as co-hosts. Everything that you talk about, actually demonstrate. And then when you get stuck, talk about where you're getting stuck. When you create a poll, take a poll. This may be good even to add, Daniel.
Yes.
What I found in the best students' cases, what would they improve is to formalize what you're going to speak about. And share your screens and implement the features. So when you're showing how to do the live stream, actually share your screen doing the live screen. Now, what you'll see when you even play it back, some of you, it looked like you didn't even play it back. You didn't even want to see yourself on camera. Get used to seeing yourself on camera, and then we make improvements, is that you won't see your control bar. And then try out, let me just move this up. Finding a screencasting program, screen recording program that can capture the control bar of Zoom. That's the problem of Zoom. It can't almost like capture itself. Some of you may want to go back and improve your individual assignment. Some of you are in the process of waiting for your YouTube account to be processed. And as a group, some of you have only done, like you have 4 people in your group and have only done 2 people in your group. I let you know that you will be counted for, just because you're in a group and you have not done anything, you will get the same grade as what you contributed. If you contributed 0, you will get a 0. Just because your name is on the list there. And basically right now, for instance, group 1 is that under who attended, it was just Antonio. Really, there was just 2 of you attended. If you want to go back and do another one with all the group, or the remaining group members can do like a subgroup, they're welcome to do it. If you do not like working in groups, you do not like working in these projects, today is the last day to drop a class without getting a W on your transcript. If you like trying out new things, we're always going to have issues. And it many times you're going to be doing the best you can, and sometimes it's limited. You know, sometimes I don't control YouTube. So but I need to basically not wait until 2 o'clock to make a YouTube channel, because you know it's going to take 24 hours. But sometimes YouTube rejects you. You don't have a cent. But what can you do is you can document. You'll document every issue that you have. You document. You get credit for documenting, but just to say, I didn't get it done, we chatted and we didn't do a Zoom, that's unacceptable, of course. But if these are the issues we had, and then you have others that you can turn to. You have Daniel, you have other, you can even see those that have, you see other people's group work, right? You can see you can even view theirs and get a sense to what to do. You have other people's phone numbers that you can check, that you can chat with. And what I said before is, this is a collaborative effort. If people make the collaborative work there, they should get credit for it. If you can help somebody, that's fine. The next time they can help you. But all the time taking and not contributing is unacceptable. So, asked about when is due. I'm going to delay the final grading of this till next Monday before class. I want each group, even my best groups, to go back and look at it again and say to yourself, can somebody follow this tutorial? Do you understand? Take it and make it as professional as you could be, that you could put it on your YouTube channel and you can get a lot of hits. I would make it even, JC, make it public in the beginning, and then if you want, unlist it. Do you understand? I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, say, you know, I don't want to be on YouTube. I don't want to get stalkers. I don't want to be famous, you know, I'm famous enough. But just at least, you know, hey, we made it public and now I'm going to unlist it, or I'm going to make it private. Or you can even change it, you know, in YouTube channel, that you don't want any comments. I don't want any comments for the community. How do you do that? You can research it. I don't want comments from the community. I don't want people telling me stories about, you know, what I did, how I look, what my house look like, what is whatever. So just turn it off, but show when you're going to restrict it. For instance, JC, show how you're restricting it. That's all. And that you know how to do it, and you can then basically at this point instruct others, and then you can be experts later on. We're just using this as our formal collaboration technique. And then when we learn new things about AI, when we learn new things about financial forecasting, other things, we'll be using these tools to register and explain our tutorials on other things that we learn. How great is that? That when you leave here, you have already tools. You can beef them up. We'll be doing others where you even have that, and you can even then put it into other social media where we're looking, Daniel and I are looking at some software where it will then use AI, take your recordings, break it down into 1 minute so it fits better in other social media. You want to break it down to just, you're going to show people how to do breakout rooms or how to go live on YouTube. So you'll explain to them, hey, you have to, maybe what you need to do is record how you did the registered with YouTube, maybe another portion that you want to incorporate. Think about it is how you'll be graded. Can someone follow what you said? And can we see that you've demonstrated? And the nice thing to make it, you can make it funny. You can make it basically in the beginning, it's almost difficult because it's like you're learning as you go. So you're a bit nervous. I don't know why this isn't working. That's fine too. This is where I had trouble. Now I found out how it works. There was a question, I think, from Dominique. Did you have a question?
Yeah. So did you say so don't delete like the submissions before like our final
Right, keep
submission?
what you have.
Okay,
And then just say that's at it. That's the beauty, because it's going to be incremental. And that is something too, right? look at this, how much I improved. Or look how we got this fixed. And maybe the second part, you don't have to go through all of it. But the parts that weren't as good, we didn't show you in the first part. We just talked about how to do breakout rooms, or in the first part. And if it doesn't appear, your share screening of the breakout rooms or something, find a different type of recording, a way to record on top of the Zoom. That it looks professional, and then it reuses. And guess what, Dalton? Somebody else can use it. That's the whole in that beauty. And then you can say your YouTube channel is, even how to use Zoom from behind the scenes or whatever, how to promote your business, how to get more business by going YouTube live. Did you know through Blackboard, you're already in Zoom, you're already giving it to some customers. Let other customers that are potential customers see your your YouTube live, and then you can go to TikTok and others. Okay, Sam, what other questions?
Is the due date for the individual assignment also?
Both, yes. Both are going to be extended till Monday. And your individual assignment, you can redo as well. Look back at your individual assignment. Is that my best work that I want to showcase, that I want to then carry through? How does that sound? Because we were rushed before and some people didn't know. Okay. And we're on YouTube Live now. Michael, we're on YouTube Live now. And we're recording. This is if you don't, Michael, and these kinds of things, okay? All right, what else? Clark, questions? Do I need anything? Okay. How are we doing, Daniel? What do I need to address?
No, seems like that's everything.
Okay, I think we got a hold of it, right?
Mhm.
And Arnav, are you set?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you can't make the class, if this class is not first priority for you, if you don't want to do group work, you don't want to do all these assignments, all you want to do is some tests and some quizzes, this is not the class for you. And the beauty here is this Wednesday, I think by 12 midnight, you can drop even without even having a W. Nobody even knows that you had to be here. And I will not be insulted one way. So if it's like a match, some things don't match together. Doesn't mean that it's not a value system. Just where this is not in your time frame, what you have to do, this is not top priority. I don't like to be online. I don't like this. I don't like that. The beauty is you got to see what it is. And all I can tell you is that each week we will do another type of, we'll do the readings, we'll do the quizzes. Everybody knows how to do it. If you haven't done that, that's also a problem. That should be done. That should be a no-brainer. But the assignments will be challenging and there will be issues. And that's the fun of it. It's also we'll realize we have to take deep breaths. And the main thing is, did we document our issues? And did we try to find solutions to it? We're not, right, JC? We're not born with this stuff and it's all changing. I can't keep even up with this, of new products all the time. I go to these conferences, I get, one of the things is that everything is changing. What was even 3 months ago, I have to keep on being aware of it. And you guys can contribute. Everybody has different skills, different interests, and you can find things. And that's the beauty of it. Okay, anything else that I need to deal with? Stay with me. Otherwise, I'm going to share my screen for attendance. We'll do attendance. If you need to talk to me about something specific, I'll be happy to do that. I need to go to my other section, which is HI. I have to go to attendance. I have to check in. I have to start my check-in. And it's 4648 when you check in. If you're finished, I'd suggest you contact your groups. If you haven't done anything, there may be issues of that. You need to do individual assignment and you have to be in a group that can showcase, for instance, how to create polls, how to take polls. We have the whole list there. Okay?
Thank
See
you.
you. Stay with me if you have additional questions. Otherwise, I'll see you on Monday where we'll start going into new technology and keeping up.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing and participating. And thank you also for moderating. And thank you, Danielle, for checking the pulse. Okay?
Professor,
Yes.
I just had a quick question about
What?
the quiz that was due today. I thought it was like when it says Wednesday, I thought it was like end of the day Wednesday.
It is end of the day today, isn't it? Or was it?
Okay, I saw it said like 3:35, so I was just
Yeah,
making,
so just go ahead and take it now. Okay? But
All right.
we'll make it that it will be always, Luke, at 3:35. This way we know before class. You can remind me, Luke, to emphasize that, and maybe Daniel will put it in the announcements that
Okay.
all quizzes will be and assignments will be due unless otherwise right before class.
Okay.
And that
Thank
way
you.
you get it over, you know what I mean? This way you won't be, it was confusing because some of the other ones I left at 11:59.
Okay.
Perfect. So now you know that you can basically finish that up. Okay?
Quiz, I changed it to be due at 11:59.
Okay, he changed it, so you're not even gonna be penalized. See how great Daniel is to have Daniel in the class, Luke? He changed it already.
I'll
Okay,
change it for Jay as well. 'cause
yeah, change it for Jay.
fairness.
So we're as fairness.
Thank you.
Your pleasure. So now you have not plenty of time, do it before the servers go down, right?
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, so
Have a good
everything
one.
else is going well for you?
Great. It's going great.
Okay, so
Yeah.
hopefully you'll learn something in the class, okay?